You were born into a world where your name already carried power long before you ever spoke your first word. The hospital room where you arrived was not an ordinary maternity ward open to the public. It was a private floor inside one of Riyadh's most secure hospitals, prepared days in advance with quiet security outside the doors. And doctors carefully selected to assist members of the royal family in Saudi Arabia when a child is born into the royal bloodline. The moment is not simply a family celebration, it is the arrival of another branch of a dynasty that has shaped the country for nearly a century. Your father is a Saudi prince, part of one of the most powerful royal families in the Middle East. That means the life waiting for you outside that hospital room will look very different from the life most children in the country will ever experience. The city of Riyadh spreads across the desert with glass skyscrapers, giant highways, and massive shopping malls built from decades of oil wealth. Millions of people live and work in that city. But the world you grow up in exists slightly apart from it. Your first home sits behind tall walls inside a private palace compound surrounded by palm trees and guarded gates. Security vehicles monitor the entrances while staff members move quietly through the halls preparing meals. Maintaining gardens and organizing the daily operations of the household, the palace is large enough to host state guests, family gatherings, and royal meetings. Yet for you, it simply becomes the place where childhood unfolds from the time you are young. Your life follows routines designed for someone born into influence. Private tutors arrive at the palace to teach you Arabic, English, world history, and international culture. Members of the Saudi royal family are expected to understand the world beyond the kingdom, so education often includes learning about global politics, diplomacy, and business. Many princes and princesses later attend universities abroad in cities like London, Boston, or Washington, preparing them to operate comfortably in international circles while remaining connected to Saudi traditions. But even during childhood, the weight of your family's status quietly shapes the world around you. When your father travels across Riyadh, a convoy of vehicles moves through the streets while security teams coordinate routes and timing. Important meetings take place behind closed doors where government officials, business leaders, and advisors gather to discuss investments, development projects, and national policies. Saudi Arabia is one of the most influential countries in the region, and the royal family sits at the center of its political and economic power. As a child, however, much of that world feels distant. Your days are filled with horseback riding inside private stables, family dinners during major holidays like Eid, and gatherings with relatives who also belong to the extended royal family. The Saudi royal dynasty is enormous, consisting of thousands of princes and princesses connected through generations. Many of them hold positions in government, the military, or major business sectors, meaning that family events often feel like gatherings of the country's leadership itself. As you grow older, you begin to understand that being born into this family means more than living comfortably behind palace walls. Saudi Arabia is not just another wealthy country. It is a nation whose decisions influence global energy markets, international diplomacy, and regional politics. The kingdom controls vast oil reserves and plays a central role in the Middle East's balance of power. That reality slowly becomes part of your own identity. People treat you differently when they learn who your father is. Conversations become more careful, more respectful. Invitations arrive for events connected to charity work, cultural programs, and social initiatives led by members of the royal family. Saudi princesses often become involved in projects related to education, healthcare, or women's development across the country. The expectations grow quietly, almost invisibly, because even though you did not choose the name you were born with, that name connects you to a legacy built over generations of leadership, alliances, and national transformation. And in Saudi Arabia, being the daughter of a prince means your life will always exist somewhere inside that legacy, whether you decide to step into the spotlight or remain quietly behind the palace walls. As you grow older, The world outside the palace walls slowly begins to enter your life, and with it comes the realization that your last name carries a level of attention and expectation that never truly disappears. Being the daughter of a Saudi prince does not only mean living comfortably inside royal compounds. It also means representing a family whose actions are closely watched both inside the country and around the world. By the time you reach your late teenage years, conversations about education begin to change. Many members of the Saudi royal family study abroad, and it becomes common for princes and princesses to attend universities in places like London, Paris, or the United States. Studying overseas offers something rare for someone raised inside royal circles: a chance to experience life in a world where most people do not instantly recognize your family name when you first arrive in a foreign city. The feeling is almost strange. The streets are busy. People walk freely without security escorts, and life moves at a pace that feels completely different from the carefully organized routines of palace life in Riyadh. For the first time, you're surrounded by students whose lives are shaped by ordinary concerns like exams, jobs, and weekend plans rather than royal expectations. Yet, even there, the reality of who you are never disappears completely. Some people treat you with curiosity, fascinated by the idea of meeting someone connected to one of the wealthiest and most influential families in the Middle East. Others are more cautious, unsure how to interact with someone whose background carries so much political and cultural significance. Conversations about your home country often become more serious than you expected, because Saudi Arabia is frequently discussed in global politics, economics, and international news. During those years abroad, you begin to see the world from two perspectives at the same time. On one hand, you experience the freedom of living in a society where daily life feels less structured and more individual. On the other hand, you remain connected to the traditions and expectations that come with being part of the Saudi royal family. Back in Riyadh, the kingdom itself is changing as well. Saudi Arabia has been undergoing significant economic and social transformation in recent years, investing heavily in new industries, tourism, and global partnerships as part of its long-term national development plans. Large projects reshape parts of the country. Modern cities expand, and the leadership continues pushing to diversify the economy beyond oil. As the daughter of a prince, these changes are not distant headlines, they are part of the world your family helps shape. Royal family members often become involved in philanthropic work, social initiatives, and cultural programs aimed at improving education, healthcare, and opportunities across the kingdom. Saudi princesses, in particular, frequently support charities, foundations, and organizations working in areas such as women's empowerment, humanitarian aid, and youth development. Over time, you begin to realize that your role may not involve direct political power like the positions held by many princes. Instead, your influence may come through diplomacy, cultural work, and social initiatives that quietly shape public life in ways that are less visible but still important. Yet the balance between privilege and responsibility never disappears. Your life still carries layers of security and privacy that follow members of the royal family wherever they go. Public appearances are carefully managed, media attention can appear suddenly, and even simple personal decisions can attract interest because of your connection to the royal dynasty. Sometimes you wonder what life might have been like if you had been born into an ordinary family somewhere else in the world, a life without palace gates, official titles, or expectations attached to your name. But those thoughts rarely last long, because the truth is that from the moment you were born in that quiet hospital room in Riyadh, your life became part of a story much larger than yourself, a story connected to a royal family that has ruled Saudi Arabia for generations and continues to shape the country's place in the world. Being the daughter of a Saudi prince means living inside a world filled with opportunity, influence, and extraordinary privilege. But it also means understanding that your name carries history, tradition, and responsibility wherever you go. And no matter how far from the palace walls you travel, that legacy will always follow you.